is a subject that many students find challenging, not because it's especially hard, but because it is layered. With chemistry, if a child doesn't understand the basics, then everything else would feel like a foreign language. Hi there, my name is Sylvia Browne. I'm the lead tutor here at the Impact Academy, and I've helped hundreds of students jump up to 3 grades in maths and science. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 biggest steps top students take to secure grade 9 in chemistry without stress. Now, during the pandemic, one of the subjects that was hit the hardest was chemistry. There were many students that were falling way behind in chemistry compared to the other science subjects and compared to the maths. Why? Because chemistry is a subject that relies heavily on the foundations. If the foundation is not in place, if your child doesn't know the early stuff, atoms, elements, compound mixture, and so on, then everything else will be confusing. And that's why step 1 to get a grade 9 in GCSE chemistry is to master the basics. Now, if you don't know about atomic structure on the periodic table, then you're going to struggle when you come to do ionic bonding. If you don't know about ionic bonding, then when you start to do electrolysis, everything's going to feel like a foreign language. If you don't understand about separating techniques, separating mixtures, then when you start to do things like crude oil or making sense, or crude oil or making salts, it's not going to make sense. Okay. So hopefully you can see there how what I've explained, everything just piles on top of each other. And now knowing the foundations is something that's important for subjects. But in my opinion, I feel that it's especially so, it's even more important for chemistry. Chemistry is just one of those subjects. So what do you need to do to get a grade 9 in GCSE chemistry? Start by going back to the basics. So depending on when you started your GCSE chemistry / science, year 9 and year 10, go back and cover those topics so that you can have a solid foundation before moving on. Now, if you want to learn the best way to easily develop your foundation and cover the gaps in your knowledge, then there's a PDF guide that I'll put in the description down below called the 3 Simple Steps to Achieve Top Grades in GCSE Maths and Science, and you can learn about that. You can get that in the description down below. All right, so that was step 1, to master the basics. Step 2 is to get comfortable with math. Here's what I found after teaching hundreds, thousands of students over many years, is that students treat maths separately from science, right? When they come into the science classroom, they leave maths outside the door. But the reality is these subjects are hugely interlinked. So in chemistry alone, about 20% of your marks in GCSE chemistry is maths. And that is about an entire 1 grade level. It's an entire grade. And with chemistry, maths is not just sprinkled around the subjects like in biology, for instance. There is actually an entire maths unit. There's actually an entire quantitative chemistry unit. So if you want to do well in chemistry, then guess what? Maths has to become your best friend. So here's what you need to do. You need to go back to the basics with maths. So things like significant figures, decimals, percentages, just go back and make sure that you understand these things, okay? But to take it up a notch and you want to do better, make sure you learn and you practice that quantitative chemistry unit. So topics like titrations, calculations, percentage yields, molar mass, and so on and so forth. Make sure that you really understand them. The other thing here to do with maths and chemistry is I want you to not fall into the trap of memorizing formulas. Please, 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 please don't memorize formulas. Now, if I asked you to tell me what concentration is, you probably will be able to say to me something like, well, concentration is the amount of substance in a volume, right? Fantastic. Now, when you know what that definition is, you can easily extrapolate the formula from it, right? Amount of substance, mass, per unit volume divided by volume. That's it. Easy. So when it comes to formulas, don't memorize it, actually understand it, right? And that would really put you in good stead, because when you memorize things, then you just tend to forget them in the exam. So that would really, really help you to put it up a notch and really help you towards walking up towards that grade 9 in GCSE chemistry. Another thing to really quickly throw in there is learn, understand, and practice the chemistry required practicals, because there is a lot of maths there too. So if you do well in those, then again, you're moving yourself towards getting grade 9. All right, now let's move on to the third thing with regards to how to get a grade 9 in GCSE chemistry, and that is to practice exam questions, right? We can never get away with talking about practicing exam questions, right? With chemistry, practice an exam question is especially important for applying your knowledge, especially with like graph-based questions in things like rates of reaction. Once you start to practice those questions and apply your knowledge, you start to know, oh, these are the type of questions that I need to do a gradient for. These are the type of questions that I don't need to do a gradient for. This is what I need to do for this type of question, and so on and so forth. So practicing exam paper questions really take it to a different level. It also helps you to get better with those command words, knowing what do I write down if the question is telling me to state versus if it's telling me to explain. And it also helps you to get better with the marks allocation. It's a 1-mark question, so perhaps I just need to write 1 key point. It's a 6-mark question, I might need to write 6 key points, or depending on what the question is like, if it kind of wants me to give my opinion, if it's a justify, evaluate type question, I might need to write 4 key points and then, give a good opinion, right? So by doing practice exam question, then that could really help you with that. In terms of exam paper questions, aim to do about 1 to 2 past paper questions weekly, and by doing that, you'd really see how that helps to transform your grades over time. So earlier on, I talked about one of the key things to help you get a grade 9 in GCSE chemistry is maths. Now, maths is one of the subjects that's often overlooked. Students overlook and parents overlook how important it is for science students, but also how important it is for your future career goals. So I did a video about why GCSE Maths is key to your child's success, and that will be coming up in this video, so check that out now. Okay, that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.